Welcome back, fellow maidens. It is I, the Dark Fair Maiden, and today I'm going to be showing you and talking through my drawing process for these deities in training. That is what I call this piece. And yeah, so we're just going to talk through what I'm doing, and I hope it helps you guys. If not, I hope it's just a relaxing video. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. So I kind of start off with my figures first. I do the line work for the body and I would map out clothing to it, so I would usually find some inspiration, whether that be books or Pinterest, and then I would use that image, usually their shape or like their pose. I would then do some very rough line work for their pose, and then I would use that then as my base structure for my character. And again, I would then map out whatever clothing or items that they have to their body. I mean, the reason I do this is, one, it's super quick and I get the pose I really want and it comes across really nicely. It can be tricky mapping the clothing to this sometimes. It takes a few trial and errors, but you just have to work with it. And I don't see this as a bad thing, using a reference piece for your body shape or your pose. I just see it as something that is helpful and would quicken up the process instead of me trying to do it. Also, it's just a way of learning. All artists need something to, base their reference off of, and if this is the way that works for you, that's good, and it helps you to learn then how to do, body poses properly. So I find it's something that really helps me. It's more of like training wheels, but yeah, I find it super helpful. So this piece was kind of inspired by a drawing I found on Pinterest of like a zombie girl. So with that, I kind of wanted to create like a group of women who were also in like these rags. So I then found like all the poses I wanted from these nice reference images, and I kind of created them all with their cool rags. I suppose what I wanted to do with this piece was just really inspire and empower, women, and also it's just a really nice looking piece. I really do enjoy doing female figures and creating something really beautiful to look at and something just really fun to draw as well. I do love comics and I love graphic novels, I love anime and cartoons, so it's just really fun to be able to create my own ideas and visions inspired by these things. It can create a story in my head. So again, as I say at the end of this piece, I decided to call it Deities in Training. So these are actually deities, goddesses in training, so hence why they wear the rags, because they have not yet become their fully final versions of themselves. So it's to kind of show that they are in rags, but they will become beautiful in their own way through training and hard work. So again, you can just kind of see me mapping out the pose with the skeletal kind of frame. And I think the fun thing about drawing like this is you use it as inspiration, but then you can just like change it to whatever way you want. Change the hands, change the hair. I mean, I know from like experience that I get really frustrated sometimes when I just can't get something to look right. So again, that's why I find reference images really helpful in that aspect. So once I kind of have the rough drawing done out, I then go over everything with a smoother brush and just finesse everything. So for example, the legs, the curves, the shapes, and add some dynamic, aspects to it with thinner and thicker strokes to kind of create a contrast of lines. So next I want to just kind of talk through the process of faces, eyes, and things like that. So for this, I kind of wanted to create something kind of angelic like, and also kind of ethereal. I kind of wanted to create something like that, so I used these bold kind of thick strokes for the eyelashes and created two like shines in the eyes. And I also kind of wanted to do something different with her eyebrows, so I created those like small little oval thick brows. But eventually I did decide to change this as I just didn't feel like it fitted the piece. So yeah, I changed them then to these like kind of more wavier eyebrows, kind of something inspired by like Art Nouveau, like those kind of lines you would see in Art Nouveau architecture, because again, these are deities and I just felt like they needed something a bit more flowy, and the bubbly eyebrows were just too bubbly and fun. It just didn't capture the vibe of the deities. So that's why I made that decision. And again, you can see how I go over the rough drawing by lowering the opacity and then going over with my final brush, and you can see me add in more detail and fix some lines that I don't think work in the end. And again, I just go over some of the lines to add some more composition with adding thicker strokes and thinner strokes to some of those lines. I then go over the detail of the hair. This is a rough version of the hair, as the first rough version didn't have all the lines of the hair. So I first create a rough version of how I actually want it to look, and then I eventually go over it again for a third time of how the final piece will look with all the hairlines too. Once I'm happy with all the line work, I rework the figures into a position I like and to kind of create a nice composition. And then I start with the fun part, the colouring. And I wanted to choose some really nice warm colours for these girls. So I chose this nice light peachy colour for the skin. I then wanted to illuminate that with hues of purples and pinks and yellows, which will eventually come to, but for now I just colour in all of the figures with this peach colour, just so I can then highlight it and remove and add what I need. So as you can see here, I've selected the whole piece, and then I remove the peach where I don't want it. For example, the rags and the hair. So here is the purples and pinks and yellows that I use. I use the purple for the shading and the yellow for the highlights. And again, it's to kind of give it that ethereal kind of feel and vibe to it with these unnatural, colors that you wouldn't maybe see in a natural world. I just thought these were very nice angelic-y colors that really worked together and created like a warm glow, and I thought it was super pretty and I was really happy with the outcome. So what I find with colouring is I'll just have fun with it and layer colours. It might not look so great at the start, as you can see with this figure. It looks a little dirty, but once I add in the highlighter and the other small details of skin tones, it really comes together and looks really realistic. I then add in some textures with a nice brush to kind of show the textures of the rags. And as you can see, this is the final piece. It turned out really nice, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and farewell.